Hello, beautiful family. I'm feeling so excited about this transmission for a number of different reasons. The first one is that I have not done one in a while, and I actually really enjoy coming on and offering you these transmissions that I receive in the field of life. And I commit to not doing them unless there's something really powerful and pressing. But it's time. And I'm so excited, especially because the beings and frequencies that are wanting to be channeled today are so incredible. I am coming to you live from the island of Kauai. And so you may hear sounds in the background that are different than have been heard before. There are all kinds of birds and wind and trees and palm trees and perhaps even sounds of construction that you might not have heard in the last transmissions, but we receive them all with grace and gratitude. As I'm sitting here preparing to offer this transmission to you, I also realize that it's the beginning of a next set of teachings, and it's kind of like the key turning point in a whole next set of teachings and transmissions and ceremonies and gatherings and song circles and learnings that are wanting to come into the field over the next couple of years, probably. And so I'm also feeling some excitement in my being about the fact that the day has finally come when I feel ready to share this with you and to start to open the doors and the portals into the next sets of learning that we all get to go through here on Earth, especially those of you who walk this path alongside me and have resonance with my own personal life. Okay, let me take a moment and say a prayer, and we're going to open up to the medicine for today, which I haven't even told you what it is, but I'm so excited. Okay. Holy Mother, Holy Father, source of all creation, the Holy One, the living light that we are. We give thanks for this precious eternal moment, for the sacred lands upon which we sit. We give thanks for our remembrance that's awakening and alivening itself in the cells of our bones and our DNA, all the way down into our bone marrow. We give great thanks for the gift to be alive on earth now, even when it feels so uncomfortable so much of the time. We acknowledge two things. Number one, our own innate goodness and beauty and love and joy and creation. And we also acknowledge that we are unable to embody these things without our connection to you. That we need you living in us and through us and as us, as this living light, in order to fully embody the blueprints that we were given here to live out on earth. And we are so humbled and so grateful and so honored to be human here now. And I ask that you continue to weave the web of this community, of the people I love, those I walk beside. May I share with clarity in my voice today. May the clarity of the transmissions be received, and may they ripple outward like fractals of goodness and liberation into the greater fields. And so it is. So today, we are talking about the Seraphim, the Seraphs, the angels who are the closest angels to God itself. These angels have been presenting themselves to me for over a year, and It's taken me some time to become familiar with them and to understand what medicine they have to offer to us and why they have been so adamant. They came in quite strongly into a meditation that I was experiencing today, and I finally am starting to understand why they're here and what they have to offer. So we call upon the medicine, the goodness, the light, the just incredible beauty of the seraphim as we share more. So my understanding of the seraphim, I want to be really clear that this is not coming from having studied biblical theology. It's not having studied really anything about them except that they started coming to me. And I would notice that as I was deep in the field of my own being and I was finding these pockets of unconsciousness or pockets of untruth or places where I felt that's really it, actually. It's a specific place that arises where I feel separate from Source, from God, a place where I feel lost, separate from, in the wrong place, forgotten, unable to stay open in my heart to the light, where I try to run away, where I try to escape, where I try to numb out. If I really, really sit with those stories, those ancient threads of untruth, those ancient threads of separation, and I really open my field, my energy body, my physical body, my heart, my womb, and I allow all of that shame and fear and guilt and separation and unworthiness to be witnessed, to be opened to be held space for. There is a very particular quality of frequency that comes into the field, and it starts off as a burning. When I allow the body to burn rather than trying to get away from it or being afraid of it or making it wrong. When I allow this burning to start opening in my being, and then I begin to breathe with the burning and I begin to allow the light to move through these pockets of fear and unconsciousness, especially when I allow them to move through the heart space and I begin to open the breath to the lungs, when I allow this burning, when I allow this light, when I allow this love to begin to burn through my heart, I am met with the presence, not always, but it's happened quite a bit, that I am met with the presence of angels. And they're not, if you've ever met an angel in the field, they are massive. They are huge. I mean, I would say somewhere between 12 and 18 feet tall in human perspective. And they are just these huge, maybe even bigger. Some of them might be as tall as 40 feet. They're just these massive beings, and they are affirming my connection to God, that I could never be separate from God, no matter what I did. And they often have these wings. They're these huge, well, they always do, these huge, massive wings. And the seraphim in particular, there's a quality of burning. There's like these huge angelic beings with these massive wings, and they also burn. There's a fiery light that is the presence of love, that is the presence of goodness, that is the presence of God, truly. And of course, in this time that I've been receiving these visitations from these angels, or remembering myself, that part of my blueprint, and yours too, is this seraph, this angel, this angelic being. And as I remember myself and experience myself as that, or experience it in the field, there is an intense level of closeness to God. There is a desire to speak about holiness and the Holy of Holies and the sacred human heart and the fire and the aliveness and the living light. There's just this intense need to talk about it. And you may have seen me in the past weeks in particular, or even over the past year, starting to use some of this language more and more, which is so surprising to me on so many levels. But here we are. So this is my experience of the seraph in the field, in my own life, in my own embodied, awakened remembrance. And as I've done some research, I now know that these beings are held in the highest realms of the angelic kingdoms, which you can access, by the way, through your own consciousness at any moment. You do not need to go anywhere to access the kingdom of God. You do not need to go anywhere to access these realms of consciousness. Truly, the Garden of Eden and heaven and the great Dharmakaya, this is a place in your consciousness. And the seraph occupy a place in the consciousness that is so close to God, you can't really imagine being any closer. And they just, what I've learned through my research is that they're the ones who sit at the throne of God, and they just sing holy, 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 and they just burn with this devotion and with this light for all eternity in the eternal realms. It's a frequency that is hard to describe because it's so intimate and so unbelievably beautiful. So why the seraphim? Why are the angelic beings coming online? What is happening here in my life that is necessitated by the collective reality we're living inside of? I'm going to offer you what I've been receiving that is changing the way I work and the way we will work together if we choose to work together in the coming years. Especially right now, the world that we live in is full of a lot of chaos, a lot of untruth. There is intense amounts of unprocessed and unintegrated, unconscious material in the greater fields. It's in the news media, it's in our families, it's everywhere. There is a lot of fear, there's a lot of untruth, there's a lot of unknowingness, and there can be a sense of, I can't access truth. I can't access what's true. I don't know which way to go. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I'm becoming. I don't know what this world is becoming. And in the past, in earlier parts of this time on Earth, it was, and it still sometimes is, I want to be clear, there are layers of truth and layers of paradox here. But for me, I have discovered that for many of us, it's not actually supportive to go into trying to find the truth. To go into looking at all of this shadow material and trying to break it down and trying to track the shadows through the fields and trying to liberate the shadows. Because right now in this very moment and probably over the next few years, it's just so inundated that it would be like trying to walk into a minefield and And it's very challenging. It's extremely challenging and not all that fun. So over the last six months to a year, to be honest with you, of my life, I've been receiving very strong direction to stop going into the fields, to try to change the human consciousness on my own, and instead take a different tactic, which is to start affirming the light of God, the light, the living light, the source of all that is, at all costs. And this means that in my client sessions, which are changing, I'm no longer doing direct energy work on people to try to support the alchemization of the field, but I'm really sitting with people and affirming their living light and supporting them in alchemizing their own fields. And it also means I've been doing, if you've noticed, less and less focus on trauma, less and less focus on alchemizing the consciousness from the subterranean, from the subconscious realms, and moving more into what it means to use our hearts and our voices and our wombs simply to affirm and reaffirm and create the fields of devotion, the fields of connection to the light, rather than trying to alchemize it through the subconscious realms. I hope all of this is making sense to you. If you're listening, it probably is. What I know is that when I'm in the realms with the Seraphs, with these high angelic beings, all of that fire, all of that love and that devotion, it naturally burns off what is unconscious. It is naturally burning away the fear, the shame, the guilt, the separation, the loneliness. So we're still doing the same work, but we're coming at it from a different direction because of what's unfolding on our planet. I personally want to spend my life force affirming the goodness and the beauty and the power of the living light. Singing to it, dancing with it, creating stories of it, helping all of us to strengthen this living light in our field, to strengthen this holy devotion, to strengthen harmony, to strengthen creation, to strengthen beauty, to really teach you, show you, be with you as you remember how to work with some of these frequencies, the frequency of the sword, the frequency of the rose, the frequency of the rainbow, the frequency of the living light, the frequency of devotion, of creation, and seed that onto our planet right now. Seed love onto this planet. Seed openness, seed trust, seed discernment, seed clarity, seed creation and music and art and love and community onto this planet. And the angels are here to help us access that very, 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 very high frequency in the field that we can use not only to burn away that which no longer serves, but also to create beauty from a very high realm of consciousness. So in the coming period of time, I'm not going to put any timelines on it right now, you're going to start seeing me offering song circles, heart of devotion, of what it means to just sit in a field together and sing the songs of creation and harmonize our voices in harmonic toning to become the angelic choirs, to become this living light through our heart womb voices. And we're also going to be offering master classes on how to use your own personal voice to alchemize anything that might be disharmonious in the field of your own consciousness, in the field of your home, in the field of your work environment, in the field of the land upon which you sit. How can you go out to those places and offer your voice, the sound of your voice, as a harmonizing frequency in the field? And most likely, we'll be offering the Holy Voice again, helping to unpack and rewire some of these places in the field where we've gotten lost and confused, and to come back to this inner voice, this holy voice, the voice of Source, the voice of God that lives inside us, so that we can birth creation into the world. And all of this is hosted by the Mother and the Father and the angelics. And we're so grateful for their medicine. So I hope this transmission offers you clarity today. I hope it offers you inspiration. I hope it offers you hope. I hope it helps you, it opens up doorways to remembrance of what it means to be devoted to Source and how to live that energy here on Earth now, as well as giving you some indications about what it looks like for us to work together and be in community together over the coming years. I send you all so much love straight from the center of my heart, which is the heart of God. May these transmissions give you everything you need today. And may you remember yourself as the living light here in service of all creation. So it is. Hallelujah. Amen.